We now return for the exciting conclusion of Home Alone 2, reviewed without further interruption, featuring Niall McGowan from Bat Minute and John Parker from Hedwig, Inch by Angry Inch. Enjoy!
It's dark and it's cold and I feel I'm getting older, and I wonder, are you watching Home Alone 2? Are you watching Home Alone 2?
Let's move on. Let's leave the park. We have a quick scene back at the toy chest where the police and Mr. Duncan are on the scene, checking out the damage or surveying the damage. And the police, I guess the inspector finds a note tied around a rock on Plaza Hotel stationery, excuse me.
With beautiful handwriting for a
child.
child.
I was going to say, my main takeaway is the penmanship that Kevin has is moi. It's chef's kiss. Beautiful.
I can't write like this now.
Yeah.
It does the way that it does strike me though as because I was a kid who had to I still have terrible handwriting, but I had to go to a special class to like try to rectify they gave me a special I don't know what was special about it. It was just a blue pencil, but I remember this is your special pencil. This is what because it'll help you write better. But it strikes me as a very this would have taken him 45 minutes to write that whole letter, a literal
yeah.
Every letter is a lot of effort is put in there.
Yeah. So did you grow up in Full Metal Jacket? Did they make you march this is my pencil? There are many like it, but this one's mine.
It might have been more fun if they did, to be honest with you. It was just a really boring class. They just made you. They just put down letters in front of you and be like, "Okay, write between these two lines, replicate that exactly," and you just do it over and over again.
times. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, and then you'd be going "All right, go write a sentence now," and you go back to normal. It's like, no, do it the way. It's like, well, if I do it that way, it's going to take me 50 minutes to write a sentence. What the hell's the matter with you?
And now I'm so out of practice. My handwriting's worse than ever because all I do with a pen is sign something or date something. So when I actually have to write a note, it's like, this is a mess because I just use a computer.
See, all my notes for Bat Minute and this actually, they're all handwritten. So it's just one of these things. But it's one of those things. It's I just need to kind of to see the idea of the word, and I'll remember what it was. Though if it was months ago, I'll be like, oh, I have no idea what this is. But when you write something recently and a day later, you're like, what's that? Okay, I know what that is. Yeah, but.
It is very sweet that he left this note, though, explaining what he's done, why he's done it. I did find that really, really cute. I mean, as a kid, I probably did, but this time around, especially, I was like, "Oh."
This wonder at what point, though, it's going to be that, all right, Peter McAllister calms down about the grand room service bill. It's like, by the way, Dad, I now owe.
Turns out a large shop glass window is expensive. Who knew? Yeah.
I'd imagine
oh God,
quite,
yeah. And
quite a bit of money.
In the center of New York as well. I imagine that costs more money.
Yeah.
Because it's all relative to where you're located, right?
He gets in touch with Mr. Duncan. He's like, you owe me for those presents too, right?
Yeah.
I was just doing that because I knew you wouldn't have presents for the family. I just assumed you would pay me back later.
It's okay. You can pay in installments. It's fine.
Are the presents from Mr. Duncan?
Oh, yeah. That's what I took away.
The one that come in a minute.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I never made that connection. I thought just the hotel kind of were trying to, grease up this family for not press charges. How we tossed your unaccompanied minor into the street, and
I thought that would be funny. Let's let these mysterious toy deliverers into their room. But all these things.
Yeah. Well, I guess they would know because the note is on Plaza Stationery, and he does write, and this was something I would do as a child as well. He puts his full name, Kevin McAllister. I would do that a birthday card to my grandfather, a card to my parents or something. I would put my last name.
I just remember that one of the most adorable things I've seen in my life was one time my dad was writing an email, and he never writes emails. And he, at the top, he was like, "How do I put my address over at the other side?" Because when you write a letter, you put your address at the top and then the address of the other person on the other side. And he's like, "How do I do that?" And I was just like, "Dad, you don't need to do it. It's an email." Like, but he was just so like, because he's a guy in his 70s. He's like, "Well, I've never sent one before. Like, I don't."
Oh, that's quite cute though. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just really like, just stay that innocent, man. Like, believe that you need to do that in an email. Because all you actually need to do with these people now is like with one thumb, send something on Twitter to someone and be like,
"Yo."
Yeah, it's like that's essentially what you're doing. It's the same thing. But
oh, bless. No, it is. I do love this letter though, and yeah, that's what then does lead to the presents. It is because it's because A, Kevin helped, and B, not only did he help, but he's gone out of his way to sort of make things right. So Mr. Duncan's just like, that's a good kid. He needs something positive.
Yeah.
He asks
about insurance. He asks if he has insurance for the window. He's considerate.
Yeah, I'm sending you these presents, but if you could just pop your details down on this.
He's got such a kind of weird Willy Wonka-esque quality to him, like Mr. Duncan. Like, I imagine he's like trying to rope Kevin in to be his heir somehow now.
You could take over the toy store.
Yeah. It's like, imagine if there would have been a sequel. Would just be like, yeah, now you've got a free ticket to Duncan's toy house, and it's like, oh yeah, half the toys will kill you, but if you win,
if you survive.
I do also love that the toys are all very old-fashioned toys.
Yes,
and B, that it's based on a real shop. I don't know if you've mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it briefly. I don't know. I know that this is kind of a stand-in for FAO Schwartz, which is sort of the famous big toy store.
And does that deal in a lot of old-fashioned kind of toys still these days?
I would guess not. I haven't been there. I don't know if there's a chain. I certainly haven't been to the one in Manhattan. I would guess not. I think they probably do have a lot of, dolls and action figures and the type of toys that don't take batteries. But I'm assuming that it's a lot of video games and, even Lego has the batteries and motorized and robotics and all sort of modern toys.
I quite like the older toys. Like there's a shop here just down the road, actually, that's just deals in repairs of old toys, like old dolls, doll houses, proper old teddy bears. I don't know how this shop stays in business, but that's all it does. It's like a toy hospital.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, and there's something about like where you get a little more input from the child to bring a little more in imagination to it versus something like a video game where you can kind of just sit there and it presents everything and there isn't anything for your imagination to fill in.
That's my problem with modern Lego is that, it's great. Don't get me wrong. They all look cool. But when I was a kid, if you wanted Star Wars stuff, you had to make an X-Wing out of normal Lego pieces that made a house. You're like, right, how can I make an X-Wing? You didn't buy an X-Wing. You had to come up with something and be like, okay, yeah, that kind of looks right.
Like John getting into the back in my day. You guys...
Well, no, but it's. I know the modern ones look better. They do. They look loads better. But it is less creative. Like the whole point of Lego is like you go out of your way to come up with things and design stuff. Whereas now it's like you just follow the guide and there you go. You got your X-Wing.
Yeah. There was a weird thing during the 90s, I think, being a 90s kid, where there was a generational split in the portrayal of Christmas presents, because a lot of these things would have been written by people who obviously grew up in like the 60s and stuff, and what they would have got for Christmas would have been like a single rocking horse or something like that. Or it's a one cowboy pop gun, something very low tech, and you should be, that's magical and you should really appreciate what this is. But of course in the 90s things have changed entirely. And you're constantly getting bombarded with all these cool toys you have to have. And it does this. But then you watch this in movies and you end up, as a kid, I always felt guilty for getting so many Christmas presents. Because you're like, oh yeah, the movies. It's always like they'll get like, particularly like British. Like British or just Irish Christmas specials will be like, you got a Satsuma. And that was the Christmas present. Like, that was part of the whole treat, was getting a piece of fruit on Christmas morning.
Well, because back when that was actually a thing, that was a big deal, wasn't it? Like, oh my God, fruit.
So you have the guilt of that in the 90s because all the stuff you're watching was written by people who were like, back in my day. Although now, because you felt guilty, like, oh, I got like a Sega or something. Like that's way more expensive.
Yeah.
But now we're getting, because they had that 8-bit Christmas just came out. You're getting to our generation of like, oh yeah, back in the day when I was a kid, you used to get computer systems for Christmas, and it was the greatest thing in the world and stuff. So
yeah, I'd get a Mega Drive with Sonic, and then I'd have my Super Soaker and all kinds of stuff.
And you'd watch something and you'd be like, no, all he got was like a single, cork but it's a really special cork or something stupid like that.
Well, that's what it seems like you get at this toy shop. Like in a good way, don't get me wrong. It's just it doesn't feel very 90s, does it? It seems like Kevin isn't the kind of kid who'd be into it.
Yeah.
He's the kind of kid who would be into getting a Mega Drive.
Yeah, he's into gadgets.
Genesis in America. Sorry.
The Genesis. Or it's something like the Talk Boy. Yeah, he's kind of into the gadgets and stuff.
But I think that's kind of cute, though, that he still does like that. Because I think as a kid, that was me. I got the new high-tech stuff. I got my games consoles and things. Mm-hmm. But I was more than happy to get old. Like, I used to always love just playing with dominoes. Like that was a treat. Oh, I got more dominoes. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. It is always true of like particularly really young kids. It's just like you can get them a fancy thing, but then they'll just like want to play with the box. Like it's just
there's a joke in my family about I don't know if you have it over there in the UK, but the straw that we use for Easter baskets.
Oh yeah.
It's just like this. I guess it's like plastic grass, but like this fake straw that people use in baskets, and they put the chocolates and whatnot in for Easter baskets. But when my niece was younger, I think she was probably like 5 or 6, and I forget the gift, but the gift was packed in this Easter basket straw, and like the rest of the day she's just playing with this plastic grass. Like the toy was discarded. It's like, I don't want that. I'm going to play with the packing material. That's where the fun is.
Our kids are smart. They know that the packing material is going to be thrown away in the morning. The toy is still going to be there. So play with the packing material while you can.
While you can, yeah. There you go.
I feel like we shouldn't skip over because like we've kind of zoomed in towards the hotel, but like there is of course the great reunion between Kevin and Kate again.
Yeah, let's get to. I just want to say let's get to the mother Kate, who is running through Times Square, and we see there's a clock. We can see it's 1:14 a.m., which kind of makes sense because the bandits, the sticky bandits, were planning their heist for midnight. So it's 1 a.m. She's running through Times Square with her wallet out, flashing a picture of the family, going, have you seen this boy? And I'm sure you two have lots to say, but I want to just start off. So she approaches a policeman who's sitting in a car. So this officer is played by the great Ron Canada, who's had quite a career, who I'm sure many people will recognize because he has been not only in this film and DC Cab and Adventures in Babysitting.
DC Cab is a genuinely great movie. No, genuinely. Me and Niall put it on thinking this will be a funny, bad film. And at the end, we were just like, that was great.
That was great. Ron Canada was in DC Cab, but he was also he appeared in episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and The Orville.
Oh my God! Get him in Discovery. Come on, what are you doing?
Was he doing the classic thing of like appearing as a different character each time, or did they actually give him continuity?
No, and then he's a different character each time.
Perfect.
So even better. Yeah.
That's he does look really familiar, but I couldn't place him. So I've seen all of the things you've just listed. So probably one of those.
I think he's in because I looked briefly into him myself. And I saw he's in like Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Oh yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, of course. Like just a couple of things that caught my eye because I was like, I watched that. It was like Just Like Heaven, the Reese Witherspoon, Mark Ruffalo rom-com where she's a ghost.
Yeah.
But it turns out she's not a ghost; she's in a coma. I was like, at the end, you're like, how does this work? What ghost coma? What the hell is this?
Astral projecting.
He's also,
as witches call it, crossing the hedge.
But he's in Getting Even with Dad as well. So another Macaulay Culkin. I was kind of hesitant to say classic, but film. He's another Macaulay Culkin film.
Another film that exists.
Yeah. Like Richie Rich. Like, it's there. It exists.
I was also surprised. He's in The Man Who Wasn't There, but not the Coen Brothers movie there was another movie called The Man Who Wasn't There. There was something with Steve Guttenberg and Jeffrey Tambor. And I was like,
yeah, that's the appropriate response, I think.
Okay.
Steve most of those guys. Steve Guttenberg is an instant like.
Why was he a thing?
Because Police Academy. Yeah, the Stonecutters, of course.
Stonecutters and Police Academy. There you go. Both of you were correct, I think.
I also noticed he's in something called Pinocchio's Revenge, which, like, looking into it, like, it's just Child's Play. It's just a rip-off of Child's Play.
He could keep lying to make the nose grow and like poke people's eyeballs out and stuff with it.
I would hope that his weapon was the nose. If you're going with like, oh yes, Pinocchio, yeah. Like, but revenge for what though? He's just like, you know what? I'm sick of all those goddamn assholes who were so mean to me when I was a puppet. I'm turning myself back into a puppet and going after them.
He's probably just sick of existing. Come on, he's not meant to be alive.
No. Have you? Did you read the description of Pinocchio's Revenge?
Well, I did see it. It sounded to me like, oh yeah, it sounds like Child's Play. Is there more to it?
Yeah. But yeah, just the wooden puppet belonging to a deceased serial killer. So it's
I really want it to be a deceased
serial killer.
That'd be fantastic. But no, their reunion here in this movie is it's very touching actually. I know you said now a lot of this didn't move you, but what about this bit? I think to me this still gets me.
No, this didn't get me either.
Didn't get you at all?
So again, it was just like, I remember in the first movie, it was a big moment, but now I think it's because of there's more jokes in this version.
It's a sillier film,
yeah. And he has to like, oh, that worked fast. I was like, you're kind of undercutting it a little bit, and I think it was more the aftermath then too of like they had this big reunion. Cut to the next scene. Kevin's shoved into a room with all the other family while Kate goes and sleeps with her. It's like, wouldn't she be like clinging to him for dear life? The second time you lost this damn kid. Like, spend Christmas with him. Don't just be like, all right, we got you. Get in the room. Get in the room with the rest.
It's old news now. She's like, oh, well, okay, we've solved it. Fine, just go in there. I just need some sleep.
She gets over this awfully quickly. Well, I would think the danger is because part of the reason this keeps happening is there's so many children around that you can lose one in the mix. So let's stick Kevin back in this room with 9 other children where he can get lost again. Yeah.
That should be the final scene, a post-credit scene if it was these days. Would be like they head back home and it's like, where's Kevin?
Or just be like, where's Buzz? And then it's him just like buddying around with Tim Curry and messing up his day again.
Buzz's spring break.
Yeah. So this is a nice reunion in front of the tree at Rockefeller Plaza or Rockefeller Center. It is nice. And I do see, so then it cuts to, I assume that, the next morning, and now it's snowing. It'll be a white Christmas. And now I see as the truck is they're unloading presents onto luggage carts in front of the plaza. I do see the Duncan's Toy Chest logo on the side of the chest. Because usually every other time I watch this, I'm just admiring the snow because it's a pretty scene. Just seeing the snow fall in the city. Yeah.
Quite good snow considering I assume it's fake snow, right?
Yeah.
It usually is. When they film Christmas movies, it's usually like spring.
Yeah.
But it looks quite real.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they'll get lucky with there being snow on the ground when they need it. But I think even though this was filmed in the winter, but I think it's safe to assume the actual falling snow is just someone right off camera throwing like instant potato flakes or whatever they use.
It doesn't look bad though. Usually in movies, you're like, that's not snow. What are you doing? Yeah. But this, I'm like, okay, yeah.
I buy it.
I was more confounded within the room how this negotiation ended in this scenario where Fuller has got the bed, like a giant bed. I know why he's in a giant bed by himself. Right. We see the crumpled cans next to him. But I would imagine they would be like, no, you sleep on the floor, kid. Or like they'll be put him in somewhere. Like they're all lying around on the floor and stuff. Can't be comfortable. Like all the emergency cots and things like this. How did he get this giant luxury bed? Like, was it just that he cried until they're like, all right, just leave him in the bed by himself? Or like,
well, I guess if you pee the bed, it's easier to clean than if you pee all over the carpet, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah, but they're not. It's a hotel. They're not. Well, they're kids. They're not cleaning it anyway.
No, but for the hotel. So the parents are probably thinking about the hotel billing them.
Yeah, I guess it is easier to flip a mattress than to have to like shampoo the carpet and stuff. But like,
because I would think the other younger children, certainly like Kevin, we've seen has gotten bullied out of his own room before. But I would think at least Buzz would shove Fuller out of the bed and claim the comfortable spot.
That's the one thing Buzz is scared of, is getting peed on. And that kid just clings onto the bed for dear life. He's like, all right, I'm not going to risk it.
I think it's one of those rare occasions where he's doing the right thing, but because he just doesn't want to annoy his mum. Basically, he's like, okay, fine, whatever.
Mom's been through a lot.
Yeah. You can imagine Peter been like, Buzz, just take him aside, like, just don't do this today, okay? Just one day. You can bully Fuller all you want tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, and what I was gonna say is, I wonder. We all kind of assumed the issue was that Fuller would urinate while he was sleeping, but maybe it's more of an animalistic, like he marks his territory.
Oh,
like he's awake peeing on the bed, and then all the children scatter. The children that had been in the bed will get out of it, and then Fuller's like, well, it's my own urine, so I don't mind sleeping in it.
Yeah, it's deliberate.
I don't think we'll ever get an answer to the mystery when he wakes up here.
Yeah.
Is it dry in there, or is this going to be like another, like, okay, you also ruined the mattress? That's another grand. So.
I think you're onto something there, Sean, because Fuller, not as much in this movie, obviously, because you don't really get as much Fuller, but he seems to revel in the fact he wets the bed.
Mm-hmm.
He seems proud of it. He thinks it's funny.
I guess maybe if it gets him
deliberately.
If it gets him empty giant beds to himself, it's like, I've found an easy way to win.
Like, this pays off. I wonder is Kieran Culkin, like, is he on Cameo or something? Can I get is there some way I could speak with him and get his? I know he didn't write it, but kind of get his take on the character. With maybe that was part of his motivation. He's like, yeah, I always imagined Fuller is just it's another Batman. Another Batman villain origin story. It's like, he's the urinator. It's like, I find whenever I piss, I get I get a room to myself. I get a bed to myself. So I just kept doing it.
I'm gonna look it up live on air. Let's see.
Yeah. But people, like, if he's in trouble with someone else, he just pees his pants in front of them and they just back off, freaked out. He's like, I got away with it again. This is great.
Yeah. So we see the 10 children are piled up on like sofas and couches, and I don't know if it's like a rollaway bed or a couch that extends into a bed, and they're like flipped, like, so they're like feet to head, like alternating. But as we know, like the genitals are still lined up, so I'm not quite sure why they have that arrangement.
Some people like having smelly feet in their face when they wake up in the morning. I guess. This actually was, I thought, was eerily prophetic, with it being, again, Kieran Culkin, and just then seeing, like, Kevin's head pop up next to him and stuff, because, of course, Kieran Culkin played Wallace Wells in Scott Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite recurring jokes in that movie is, like, Scott Pilgrim will wake up and be like, oh, and then Wallace will pop up next to him because he's sleeping in the same bed for some reason. And then next to Wallace's boyfriend will pop up. I'm like, what's happening over here? And it turns out,
they're all in the bed.
Yeah, it keeps happening throughout the movie. There's more and more people in the bed each time. So seeing Kieran Culkin waking up and then a bunch of people lying around sleeping next to him is like, this is this guy's future. Like,
yeah.
Well, let me just report he is not on Cameo.
Oh,
yeah, but he's getting those Succession bucks these days. He's too big for Cameo, I think, at this point. You might have got him like 10
on Cameo.
Nah, but Snoop Dogg would do it. Like, Snoop Dogg will appear on whatever you want him to appear if you give him a couple of bucks. Like, he's. Yeah. I think Kieran Culkin might fancy himself like, well, I'm in a big fancy HBO show now. Like,
I'm an artist.
Yeah. So maybe 10 years ago you would have got him, but not now. Maybe 10 years from now you might get him again.
10 years from now. Yeah. All right. I'll keep an eye out. It'll pop up.
Well,
we'll be back here in 10 years' time to see if Kieran Culkin's on Cameo.
I'll set a reminder.
When they do go rushing off, they wake up, it's Christmas. Yeah, they go rushing off to the tree. Because the kids all believe in Santa, of course. So the kids are like, oh, there's going to be presents. Well, there is a debate about that, isn't there? It's like, well, Santa doesn't visit hotels.
Yeah.
Well, and will Santa know where they are? Like, first Santa will go to Chicago and like, oh no, they're on vacation. Then the Santa goes to Florida. It's like, wait, they checked out. Then
it's a
genuine
Santa just give up for a kid.
Point? Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I stayed with my grandparents, it used to concern me. Like, what will I get the presents? Like, what's happening?
I do like too, because the fact Fuller's the first one up and he's the first one to think of it. And when Kevin's talking about it, it's as if like he wasn't excited at all because he had reached the foregone conclusion that like Santa ain't showing up. Like he would have laid into like 2 p.m. that Christmas day. He's like, well, why would I get up? There's no presents to get. So yeah,
he's probably thinking, well, my own parents don't know where I am half the time. So how is this Santa fella going to track me down?
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's the next sequel then. Yeah, Santa can't find him. There you go.
Yeah.
Is it from Santa's point of view, or is this his mission the whole time, or is it just Kevin wandering from place to place going, I still didn't get any Christmas presents? What the hell's going on?
No, it's from Santa's point of view, because then the next one is the crossover.
That does seem like a Christmas movie that should happen, though. Like Santa can't find a kid. Like that seems like
Niall.
No, but I didn't think you'd have that. It's like, there's one kid in my list, I can't track them down or something. Like it'll be. I can imagine that being like a Tim Allen Santa Claus sequel of some sorts. Like that'd be.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, there you go. Write that. Do that, Hollywood. Make that happen.
Yeah. Well, it's better than half of the.
I don't think I don't know if they'll do it with Tim Allen these days. I know he's on the.
Yeah.
They'll replace him with Chris Evans for Buzz Lightyear. So
who's a modern Tim Allen? Who could it be?
What's the guy from Parks and Rec?
Chris Pratt?
Nick Offerman. No.
Right. Nick
Offerman. There you go.
I was thinking, what? Not Chris Pratt again? Nick Offerman would be cool, actually. That I could see working.
Oh, that would have been the real nail in the coffin, though. It's like, there's a new Buzz Lightyear. He's voiced by Chris Pratt. It's like, God damn it, would you stop with this?
Oh, the best would be he does Buzz Lightyear with an Italian accent.
It's a me.
It's a me, Buzz Lightyear. A Buzz Lightyear.
To la finitata.
So then we cut back to the park, getting back to the film we're supposed to be watching. We cut back to the park where Kevin is remembering his friend, the pigeon lady, and he's not, I haven't brought you a home or warmth or any of these hundreds of presents or anything of that sort. But here's a fragile little ornament that you have to worry about breaking.
Oh, no, I think that's nice, though, because he's a kid. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't really understand that this is going to be a burden. And he probably thinks that's a sensible present. It's like, well, she can't have a big present.
She might be just more like, like a little shiny trinket. That's more like the magpie lady's thing. She's down there around the corner. It's like, you go get her. It's like, she'll love it, though. You see it around the corner, like, oh, shiny, shiny.
Yeah.
It's just dawned on me that I forgot to bring something up a second ago. When they're opening the presents, I have one problem with something that happens. Buzz turns good, right? Sort of.
Yes.
He's doing a nice thing. He's maturing. He's growing. He understands now. Yeah, he gets family. But he's like, I think Kevin should open the first gift. Like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes.
But then he doesn't let him do that. He gives him the first gift.
Violently throws it across the room at him.
Yeah.
And then, they all just start digging in. There's no, ceremony. And I don't think Kevin does get it open first. It's just more he got... But even technically, he didn't even get, Buzz was already holding a gift. So it's like, well, I guess by default, I am the first one to have it. But
I know in a movie you can't show, everyone open one at a time and we'll all watch and talk about it. Yeah, okay, I get it. But at least just show Kevin open one and then they all go nuts.
I think you don't see what any of the gifts are either. Like, it's just maybe we would have hoped to get a little bit more product placement there if we opened and it's like, oh no, it's another one of those talk boys. Yeah, just throws it behind his back or something.
Not one of these.
Everyone gets a talk boy, and then
you get a talk boy. You get a talk boy. Everyone but John and Niall gets a talk.
Everyone
boy.
but John and Niall.
Remember they brought out the girl one, talk girl. It was pink.
The talk girl. Yeah. For the
they put a bow on it. That was the way it worked back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Pink with a bow.
Was the joke with that Sony had the Walkman?
So they walk the walk, and the other company talks the talk. Is that it?
Talks the talk.
And it's for boys, because that's for men. That's for old people.
Is it the same company, or is it just like it's a knockoff? A knockoff is obviously. I'm assuming that the talk boys were high quality products of the of the greatest order.
Absolutely. It wasn't from Sony. It was from a different company. So,
maybe that's why they never hear them anymore. It's like, they got sued into oblivion. They got.
Sorry for derailing you, by the way, because we had moved back into the park, but it just dawned on me.
No, it's fair. It's a good point though, because it is a real. I also felt that when I was watching it. It's just like, yeah, this whole big thing of like giving Kevin the present. All right, everyone just starts tearing into the thing. It's like, well, where was the ceremony of Kevin getting to open the first present? But,
Yeah.
Well, Niall, I have just Googled as well. We can buy a talk boy on eBay.
ooh,
Let me see. Oh, there's one for $27.60, but it's missing the battery cover. Oh my God, one in the box is £700.
Yeah, the complete in the box. There's I can get a refurbished one that comes with a cassette, which is important because I don't know where you'd buy a cassette these days. It's $299.99, and that's in US dollars for refurbished vintage 1992 Talk Boy.
Hang on, here we go. Vintage Talk Boy. I have tested the buttons, working, but I have no cassette. Here you go. The bidding starts at £10.50, and there are 2 days left on the auction with 6 bids.
There you go. So what I need to do is I need to set up a Patreon, and people need to give me money so I can buy a Talk Boy.
Yeah. There's a watch version of it as well.
Yeah, I was about to say I did not know there was a watch until Googling it on eBay and seeing the Talk Boy watch showing up.
That's a lot cheaper.
Really? I thought that would have been way swaggier. I thought that'd be more expensive.
No. I think it's going to be crapper sound now. You're not going to record properly on that, are you? You're not going to get a whole tape's worth. Yeah. Although you mentioning tapes, weirdly, this is so off topic. The wrestling company, Impact Wrestling, they had a pay-per-view event the other week, and a couple of days ago, as of recording, they brought the event out on a double VHS that you could buy on their website, and everyone was making fun of it. They were like, "Why have they done that? Why have they done that?" Within the day, it sold out.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be one of those things. VHS will be back. Like it'll be the hipstery thing to do. I get it. I still have very fond memories of VHS. I always have.
Yeah, but that's just because of the nostalgia. It's not
good.
Oh,
100%. And that will be the entire reason why people, because you're not getting a better picture on it or anything.
No,
it's not like vinyl where it's like, oh, there's a legitimate reason why you want to listen to this. It's like, no, it reminds me of when I used to watch VHS tapes way back when.
Well, that's the thing as well. Like you mentioned vinyl, but the current thing is bands bringing out their albums on cassette. All the cool hip bands are doing cassettes. And it's that exact reason. It's like, well, cassettes sound considerably worse, but everybody's just like, well, yeah, but it's cool.
Well, there's one thing we didn't mention. We ddid mention about cassettes. So Kevin did also give a cassette to the police way back in the park.
Oh, right, yeah.
When we were first in the park, where it said and his excellent calligraphy said, "Bad guys saying they'll kill me." Which, it's a good thing he planned in advance, where he was like, "Yep, I had this," because again, it would have taken him about half an hour to write out that label with his handwriting. So I've still always never understood within Home Alone lore, they never really deal with okay, so after this, they're going to need that kid to testify. The wet bandit or the sticky bandits now going back to prison. It's like, could you be like, oh, they escaped from prison? They just said they were going, and now we got on a tape of them saying they're going to kill some kid. I would imagine they would be more like Christmas Day would be like the policeman, like, okay, we need to take your son in for questioning because this is the second time he's had a run in with these guys. It always seems like, as soon as the sticky bandits are off screen, they are just forgotten about. As if that wouldn't be a huge court case of okay, you guys have to go in. This kid has to go up on. Oh, I guess maybe because they did blatantly confess to everything. Maybe it would be an open and shut kind of deal. But
I wonder. So we get the kind of the final reaction when the room service bill comes, but what happens when the aunt and uncle get back to or the working crew show up after on Monday to resume refurbishing this townhouse, and they see the destruction there?
Well, that's a good point. Those poor workmen.
Yeah. Are there any unsprung traps that are waiting for them? This is a dangerous situation.
Oh my God! Think of the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Go in as a friggin' thing of battery acid right above the door or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get him. Oh, Christ.
Yeah. Well, is that arc welder still hooked up to the pipe? Someone goes to turn on the faucet and they turn on the skeleton.
Or is there any way to link it back to Kevin? Because they caught the sticky bandits in the park, and it's just them saying they're going to kill him. But is there anything to indicate that they were in that townhouse? It could be like, no one knows what happened there. But just got wrecked somehow.
Yeah.
Something crazy must have happened.
They were going to rob that store. We caught them in the park. Yep, those were the only 2 locations they went
That's
to.
it. That's all we know.
Cut and dry.
Okay.
I do love just the final little bit of indignation for Rob Schneider there, for all people who hate Rob Schneider, including myself. I do not like Rob Schneider.
I think these days his stock has well and truly fallen, hasn't it?
I think I saw an interview with him quite recently on YouTube where they're doing one of those things like, going back through all they're getting, like, oh, Michael Shannon talks about his greatest characters and stuff, and he go into like, oh, proper roles that made him famous, and then Rob Schneider, and all of them were racial stereotypes. All of them. Yeah. They were all just like, oh, I used to know a Mexican guy, so I just started doing the Mexican accent, and that became the character. Or I used to know, an Italian guy. It just kept going on and on to them like, it's all you do is just make fun of people's accents, Rob. Like,
this is one of the rare occasions he doesn't.
Yeah. That's because he's probably not Rob Schneider at this point. He's just some guy. Like, his star hasn't risen yet. But if it had been like 1996, yeah, maybe he would have been a humorous, minority of some sort. That they'd amp up the comedy that way. But thankfully,
fortunately, not to be done. Yeah, just the plain old Rob Schneider. That kind of brings us to the end.
Oh,
yeah, that's so weird though, because like as of recording, and it doesn't seem like it's ever going to change at this point. It's so weird that like that shot of Kevin running away, like that's the end of the Kevin McAllister saga. Like that's the last you ever see of that kid, is him running away in that weird kind of. It doesn't feel climactic enough to me. Like, because you've been with this kid now for 2 movies, it kind of feels like until next time kind of vibe. But it's been like 30 years now. I was like, no. And Macaulay, like, fair play to him too, holding strong. Just like, I think the new one that offered him like what 2.5 million or something like that, maybe more. And he's like, I guess actually maybe 2.5 million to Macaulay Culkin. But it's Disney offering it. That might be like that's small potatoes, man.
Add a 0 to that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you know who I am. I know who you are. 2.5 million is nothing. Come on.
Is that what they reportedly offered him though?
That's what I heard. Yeah, 2.5 million. Which actually that's ridiculous. Unless it was for like a 1 scene cameo, but even that's ridiculously cheap actually for.
It has to be. It would have to be like a small, very small cameo. For that much, I would think these days, and good for him.
Just on his cameo page on the website cameo.
Well, before we get to that final shot, I had one final question here as well. The prices on the bill they're presented with.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
like even by today's standards, this is a lot of money. Like one pastry cart. Okay, I don't know how many pastries on a pastry cart. $76, and this is back then.
So this is almost 30 years ago.
Jesus Christ. 6 custard flans, $210.
6 custard flans, holy crap. That is insane.
Well, whenever you get anything at a hotel, there's always, the 8 strawberry tarts are $76. So that's over $9 each. And that's before taxes and gratuity that are added later. But room service charges are ridiculous. But
the pastry cart is $210.
Oh, the cart is $210.
The custard flans are $48, but still insane.
So that's only $8 each. That's not. But
those prices, like that would be a lot now.
It was like $1 to $2
$8 for a goddamn.
Too, kids just eat trash as well. Like you wonder if Kevin would appreciate how good. Like how high quality those pastries and stuff are. Like he might just ram them into his mouth and be like, well, whatever, that's great. Tastes sweet, that's all I need. Yeah. Because nowadays if you had that, but like a $46 for 2 pastries, you have to savor every crumb of those things.
So what year was this movie exactly? Was it 1990?
It was 92.
That it came out. Because I want to see inflation calculator. Right. So adjusted for inflation. So that $967.43, it would now be $1,907.20.
Near double.
Holy crap.
Yeah, near double.
Yeah. That is
is there?
But at the same time though, again, to Peter McAllister, I just feel like it must be just more the principle of it to him. It's like, well, of course I can afford it, but
That's what he spends on his mistress's accommodation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
That's the thing
the Plaza room service menu is online.
oh.
Now I don't think they don't have like dessert carts. At least
I
that I've
kind of
been
want to
able to
order
see.
a load of stuff now, charge it to the next scene podcast, and then like tomorrow morning, Sean is here as Brian. Like, Sean, you spent $2,000 on it.
Yeah. Well, so just starting off in the beginning with breakfast, so they have cold cereal is $15. And I'm guessing it's the small little boxes. I don't know if they have those in Ireland or the UK, but
yeah.
we have the single serving cereal box, $15. And now it does come with milk, but still
that's okay then. That's fine.
Oh yeah, that makes up for it then. Does it come with like free cow as well? Jesus,
Yes,
$15.
$15 for one single serving cereal, and then toast is $9. Toast or
That's the
bagel.
cheapest of all foods.
So the cheapest is 2 slices of bread toasted.
Is that doesn't even have the butter on it, or any kind of marmalade?
That's another $20.
That is insane. Is it stuff made especially for the hotel, or is that cereal like, oh yeah, this is like Rice Krispies or something?
I'm guessing it's just this is Rice Krispies.
Holy moly.
Tea, which is basically just hot water and a bag of leaves, is $10. Just a hot tea.
This is just now
So,
I'll never stay out of principle myself. I wouldn't stay in this hotel. That's just like that's disgusting to me that they would charge that much.
I've stayed in hotels like that before.
Yeah.
When I was in Dubai, they were even more expensive.
Oh my god!
But the only time I actually got any food in the hotel was on one occasion when I had to, because my mum like broke her foot, so we were stuck in the hotel on the last night. So it's like, well, we can't really go out. But that was £25 for a burger, but that was in 2000.
And that's a lot. I mean, they have an item on the dessert menu. They have an item, the Home Alone sundae. What I'll do is I'll read the description and let the guest guess what it cost. Okay. So this is the Home Alone sundae. It's 16 scoops of assorted ice cream, whipped cream, maraschino. I assume this is for a family. I hope they're not expecting one person to eat this.
Well, I love ice cream. I could eat this.
Maybe. All right. 16 scoops of ice cream, whipped cream, maraschino cherries, M&Ms, brownie bits, chocolate, caramel, and raspberry sauce. At the Plaza Hotel, how much do you think that costs for room service?
I'm going to go. This might be correct. I don't know. I'm going to say $80.
I think you're lowballing it there.
Oh, low.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like if they want to tie it into this.
$967.43.
Oh, they're gonna be like $1,992. It's like, came out in 1992. That's where you go. Now I'd say that's like $120 or something. That's gonna be ridiculous. Particularly if it's shared amongst the family, they'll be like, oh, you're sharing it with people. So
16 scoops, yeah.
16 scoops. You're both low. In fact, I can put both your estimates together. It'd still be low. It's $300. $300 for the Home Alone sundae.
Oh my god.
So
I hope you get to it comes in a special bowl that you get to keep or something like that.
That would be cool. But then ice cream's expensive anyway, because even if you go to a shop and get like 3 scoops of ice cream, that'll be like £5 or £6, which is what's that in dollars? I don't know, like $8.
Yeah, like $8, and then multiply that times 5. And yeah.
What this has done now though has been like, so how many nights is Kevin there? Because actually, like that room service bill is probably actually fairly like conservative for what like what it could have been. Like he's like, oh yeah, it's $1,000 for all he got. That's actually good value at the Plaza Hotel.
Yeah. If he's there for a couple of days getting every meal for room service.
Well, I'd use the word meal conservatively.
Oh, meal, quote unquote. But
yeah. Chocolate syrup, whipped cream, bananas. Is that a meal? I mean, to me it is.
I mean, they're lucky you would feel like trash afterward, but you could still it still functions as a meal, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they're lucky he's just ordering desserts. I mean, he could have gone in with the Don Julio 1942 tequila at $800 a bottle. Really would have run up a Johnny Walker Blue is $900. Like he really could have run up. Give him if he comes back in a few years when he's a little bit older, he could really run up the bill.
Yeah, just how much would that just the room for Peter and Kate been then? Just for them to get that, like that would have been, oh my god, like
thousands.
I just wonder what they were up to because I think you mentioned in textual talk when we were getting ready to record, Sean, that like, oh yeah, they of course were flying first class, kids all in steerage, and it seems to be a thing like, yes, shove all the kids into a room, and then we get like private, like I know from Home Alone lore, of course, they end up getting divorced. So I'm just wondering, is this just like they just need private time to try to work on the relationship all the time, privately away from the kids,
trying to get away from this kid? Yeah.
Well, Kevin's the one who gets away at the end, as you say. He runs off.
Yeah,
well, that's actually insane as well. Like, so to get him back, had to travel, halfway across the world to get him back again. Then just shove him into a room. Like Kate doesn't spend the night hugging her kid or anything. And then the next morning, he just runs out the door again.
And let him go. Yeah. I'm going to wander alone in New York City.
Yeah.
Well, that's the next sequel again. It's Kevin on a road trip, getting away from the family.
This should be just like the pigeon lady's like, I think I'm going to report your family to the police at this point because this is insane.
Maybe she should tell a tale of, my family went on vacation once without me and they never came back. And I've been living in this park ever since.
Yeah, even if it's lies, just to freak him out. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be like a great sequel where that happens, but it's Macaulay Culkin is like the pigeon. He's the pigeon man, and at the end, the new kid gives him like a vintage talk boy as his Christmas present.
And then it's like the end of UHF where he realizes, I can sell this talk boy for a lot of money. Now it's an antique and get reunited with my family.
I was thinking more like Wall Street 2. Where like Gordon Gekko just ends up screwing over Shia LaBeouf to get himself back on top. So Kevin ends up like ruthlessly pranking this kid with the talk boy and somehow inherits all that kid's family's wealth. Instead of Gordon Gekko sticking back the hair, it's him putting on that goddamn hat with the bauble again at the end.
Yeah.
The iconic green coat.
Oh, we're making fun of it, but I love this ending. It doesn't work on the same level as the first one, but it still gets to me. I'm still like happy. I'm excited. Like,
it is nice. It is nice. Yes. Yeah.
It is like, overall, as much as I made it come across very negative about the movie. The thing is, it is very enjoyable. Is the thing. Like it's even just getting to all the traps. They're all very creative. They're all great. So if you don't like the rest of it, it's like, just stick around. You're going to get like a good 20 minutes of just Tom and Jerry escapades then. Mm-hmm. And, they're all top notch. Even I'd actually say in the new one, the traps and all are very, it's the thing about like, if you're going to do Home Alone movie, you better make sure you got good traps. So,
you got to get good traps. Yeah. So let's, on that note, I'll use that as a segue into, the 2021 Home Sweet Home Alone. And on that note, please come back for our next episode where John and Niall will give their in-depth review of Home Sweet Home Alone. We'll see you next time on The Next Scene.
Are you